Hey, I'm Unique Love, aka Yaya, BKA, Shakita Banana, poet, blogger, food enthusiast, therapist, and BFF of Monie.
And I am Simone Loud, aka Monie, poet, writer, audio engineer, mentor, creative director, and Yaya's bestie. And together we are LoveLoudd, LLC.
2008 marks the year we met at the illustrious Clark Atlanta University. 2016 is when we became business partners. And in 2020, we started our lovely podcast, Truth Carpet.
Truth Carpet was inspired by our real life carpet in our dorm room that we sat on with our friends to speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Our version of Vegas. What was said on the carpet stayed on the carpet.
On our podcast, we will share original poems, discuss spicy topics, and quench your thirst with this here tea.
So grab your drink and let's get into it.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Welcome back to another podcast episode with your best friend duo. I am Unique Love, your favorite girl from the East Coast, and I'm here with my best friend,
Miss Simone, aka Mo to the E to the. You already know what it is. What's cracking? What's popping? I hope y'all are feeling good. It's Friday, so you know everybody should be happy for the weekend, unless you got to work tomorrow. Some people don't be happy about working on them Saturdays.
Where but at least you got a job to work if you're working. And if you're not, at least you're alive. At least you're listening to this podcast. Hopefully you can catch some gems, catch some inspiration during our episode. We have something great in store for you today. But before we jump into that, we got to check in. How you doing today? Mo to the E to the.
I am doing well. I'm doing very well. I have been on a new journey, I must say. I've been in a new phase of my life, so to speak,
So to speak.
I've been growing, evolving, shining, glowing, and rising, okay? I'm like this nice, pretty flower that has been well taken care of, okay?
Blossoming.
Yes, that's what I was about to say next. Blossoming. You better finish my sentences, because that's what best friends do.
We connected.
But yes, I have truly began to understand what manifestation really is and how you can truly put your mind and positivity into what you really want, work towards it, and it will most definitely come to you, baby. It will come to you. It's true.
That's what's up.
Why are you looking at me like this?
No, because I'm wondering, did you believe it when you were manifesting it for yourself? Whatever these things that you're talking about right now, did you believe that you would get those things for yourself? Or were you just, I'm going to say I want this, but I don't think this stuff is really going to happen?
No, I did. I truly believed that I wanted it. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I was like, if this is something that I truly want, I have to take the steps towards doing it. And in the end, I made it. God willing, He showed me the way. And now everything is falling into place.
I gotta learn how to do the siren the right way on the podcast. That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm happy for you.
I'm thinking, I don't know, should I just go ahead and tell the people what I did?
I can see you trying to hold back, and that's why I'm like, I don't want to say. What did you do? Tell the people. Let loose.
I moved to New York, y'all.
Yes.
Your girl has traveled from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. I made it to Brooklyn, New York, y'all. I am here. And I remember back in 2019, I wrote it down in my notebook for my goals for 2019. It was to figure out whether or not I was going to move to New York or move to Atlanta. And then in 2020, I actually went to these two places to try to figure out where do I see myself living, and stayed there a week each. And now here I am. Plus, aside from the fact when we did that other episode, and what Sally said, I was gonna move here. I wasn't sure if she was talking about New York or New Jersey, but it all came into fruition. I had a job before I got here, which prompted my move, and I'm just excited. I'm excited. It's a new chapter. We on the same side, y'all. We so close. She can't even believe it.
I know. I'm still in a stage of, oh, I need to check on Monie and make sure she's okay. Let me text her. Oh my God, I didn't text her this morning. Let me text her now. Like, I'm still on that. Like, I know you're grown, but I still feel like I have to check on you to make sure.
Girl, everybody's checking on me. Like, I haven't been to New York several times. It's kind of like now everybody's like, you good? You all right? You finding everything okay? How's New York? It's the same as the last time I was here. The only difference is
it's the same.
I live here.
It's the same, but you live here. This was the other trips were 2-way flights. This was a 1-way ticket to New York. You're here. You're a resident now, and I'm so happy to have you. I'm just like elated. Like, oh my God, like, so I don't have to wait for a big trip. Like, literally, if I want to see her every day, I can. Like, if I want to see her every week, I can. Wow. It's just, I'm sure I'll be used to it. Like, bro, like, you want to be here for my birthday.
That's right. It never happens. Right. Ever. It never happens. So I don't know. It's just lots of things to come. Like, it hasn't even been a month yet. It hasn't been a month, so I'm still literally settling in. Y'all, I'm still on the air mattress right now, so. But I'm happy to be on my air mattress in my room, in my apartment in New York. So it's really eye-opening for me. I love it. But if y'all want all the details of it, y'all gonna have to go to our YouTube channel to get the full blown explanation about how we feel about my move to New York. It's a lot we have in store for y'all, and I can't wait for y'all to get all of the deets, okay?
Yes, girl.
So, aside from you being excited about me being here and us being super duper close, hunty, how are you feeling overall? What's poppin'?
I really don't have anything exciting to share aside from you moving here. I just feel like maybe I'll say I feel connected, and not just to you, the cards that we pulled, but oftentimes on the podcast I talk about my struggle with keeping up with work and catching up on notes and all these other things. And recently I had therapy this week. Was it this week or last week? Last week. And she asked me how I was doing, and I said I'm stressed because I feel like 1 minute I catch up to notes and there's something else to do, and I just can't catch up to notes. It's just too much. It's notes after notes after notes after notes. And she was like, hashtag relatable. And I was like, okay, so it's not just me, and it's not just at my job. All right. So then I was at a cookout with my family, and I pulled out my work bag, and they was like, you about to do work? And I was like, yeah, I got work to do. Mind you, I didn't end up doing it because I felt like it was kind of an awkward place to do it. But my sister had said, girl, I got work to do too. And then my nephew was like, mommy, you off. You don't need to do work. You off. And then everybody at the table, like all the adults was like, that's just how it goes. So it seems like, I'm like, okay, so it's not just me. Like, a lot of us get backed up on work, but it's just having to learn your boundaries, having to understand that, yeah, you're working a job, but you have to do what's on your, stay in your pay grade.
Come on, pay grade.
And do what you can do. Don't stress yourself or overwork yourself to a point where you feel like you don't have a life outside of work, or you feel like you're overcome by the work that you do, that is just you're draining yourself. Make sure that you take time, and I'm speaking to myself. Make sure that you take time to breathe, to do the things that you enjoy about life, and say, it's okay. I'll stop now, and I'll return to this on my next work day and enjoy my weekend, enjoy my vacation time. If I'm sick, actually rest
Right.
and get well, and don't, even though I'm called out sick or vacation, still doing work because I'm so freaked out and have this anxiety about returning to work and having to catch up, So just, I guess the fear of being left behind is what we Americans tend to have, but it's going to get done.
Right. It's still going to get done and it's still going to be there. It's
It's
still
going to
going to
be
be there.
okay. Yeah.
Right. I think that resonates a lot too, though, because I've definitely had moments where I've caught myself doing work and I'm like, I'm not even getting paid to be doing this right now. Why am I doing this? This is outside of my work hours. I'm not getting no OT.
Right.
Why am I still doing this? Because I care about my job. That's why I'm doing it. And I want to make sure that it gets done. But at the same time, you can't allow your work to work you. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You have to put your mental, physical, emotional health first and then that job.
And I think it's also a stressful time too, because I brought up the question to my mom this morning, and she was mentioning that she a lot of times don't get to finish her work either, but she realized she does what she has to do, and then the rest can wait until later. But now she's finding she's having more responsibilities, not just because of her position, but because other people are quitting their jobs or getting fired from the job. We're in a time now where a lot of people are realizing their worth and leaving certain jobs, or realize how comfortable it is to work at home, and now it's time to go back to work inside, and people are like, oh no, I'd rather do something else or work somewhere else opposed to doing this job, or not work at all, and whatever their options
Right.
are. So now with people leaving their jobs, whether they choose to or they don't, it's putting obligations on other people, and I'm feeling some of that brunt too. So I know at the end of the day, I'll be okay. I just have to know my boundaries. And then I also have to respect my boundaries too, because if I'm overworking on weekends or whatever time that is, then if I'm getting all my work done because I'm working outside of hours, everybody else is, that's, sorry, I'm speaking so fast. Everyone else that's higher up is looking at everybody else that's in my same position like, okay, if Unique did it, and why didn't you do it, when they're respecting their time? So it's kind of like
Right.
I have to work within my 7 hours and let them see what can be accomplished within there. Because I'm not super bionic. I can't, if I do exceedingly, then they probably thinking or assuming she's doing it within her work hours. Nah, bro. I'll be working on
I
the
was
weekend
at home and I was
night.
working on a weekend.
Yes. You do 9 to 5 on the weekend. But no, yeah, I just, aside from that, I really don't have no mood. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm happy that you're here, and I'm looking forward to this loving relationship that we got. I'm looking forward to what's going to blossom into, you know what I'm saying?
Not this whisper, the whole vibe change. But yes, I'm excited too. We're gonna have so much in store. Can't wait to see what everybody is going to get from us. It's just so many ideas and things that we've been wanting to do for a long time that we have been able to do. And now that we're together,
Together.
the sky, forget that. Beyond the sky is the limit. Ain't no limit. Ain't no limits, baby. Ain't no limits.
Yes. It's so, side note, it's so funny. I notice when I listen back, but I still have a habit of doing it when I'm laughing while I'm on mute. So like sometimes I hear on the podcast, like it's like, but I've been laughing the whole time. It's just because I be putting myself on mute.
And then you might realize, oh, I'm laughing and I'm on mute. Let me
Yeah.
chime in real quick.
That be me.
All right. Are you ready for me to go ahead and give them the rundown?
Lego.
Let's do it. All right. Y'all already know what it is. It is I, Simone Loud, giving you the rundown for season 2, episode 12 of Truth Carpet. In the icebreaker, Yaya and I will be playing a game of Never Have I Ever. I'm going to say 10 things. She's going to say 10 things. We're going to see who wins or loses the game first. Up next in our Sweet 223 segment, our Poetry Suite has a very special guest, our second guest ever, LaQuan Ford, who will be performing a piece from his book entitled Pride. Next up in our calf segment, LaQuan will be joining us again so we can have a conversation about his book, Bandages and Cologne, finding out who he is as a writer, his inspiration, any fears or criticism about his book, and all things that have to do with poetry. Then in our dorm story segment, Yaya and I will be discussing our experiences that we have regarding the first time that we performed on stage. Then last but certainly not least, in our announcement segment, where there is always something for everyone, we'll be giving you some things that you need to hear. So make sure you tune in all the way to the end so that you don't miss out on important information. All right, girl. You ready to go ahead over to this icebreaker and play some Never Have I Ever?
Y'all already know what time it is. We are in the icebreaker segment where we get loose, shake a little, wiggle a little, let loose.
Not shake a little, wiggle a little. When we be wiggling and jiggling?
Just like that. I don't know. But today we are playing a game of Never Have I Ever. Some of you may know it as Never Have I Ever. Some other people like me know it as 10 fingers. So Monie and I are going to go through our list and see who puts their little fingers down. Okay? You ready?
Right. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. You want to do every other, or you want to have me go and then you go?
Let's take turns.
Okay.
Put your fingers up. Bow. 10 fingers.
Damn. Yeah. All right, let's go. Keep the fingers up. Don't be trying to hide them.
So the fingers stay up if I've done it. I mean, if I've never done it. My finger goes down.
Right. So if you did it, put your finger down.
Okay.
All right. Never have I ever skipped school.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
I wish. Never have I ever gone ziplining. Oh, you did? You go for it?
I've never done that.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, dang.
No.
We gotta take you ziplining.
Right. I gotta go ziplining. All right. Never have I ever broken a bone.
Nope. Never have I ever been on TV. Hey.
I've been on TV. Never have I ever fired a gun.
I did. Never have I ever been on a cruise. You did. I know that.
Several cruises.
Yes.
All right.
Never have I ever done drugs.
You just said my line.
Sorry.
I was supposed to say, never have I ever done drugs. Are you putting a finger down or keeping it up?
I never did. Oh.
Yeah, put that finger down, bruh.
But is it a drug, though?
Yes, it is. Yes. All right. Now say the one you're supposed to say.
Never have I ever gotten a piercing.
Yes, I have.
What do you have pierced?
I have my ears pierced, my nose pierced, and my belly button.
Oh, I forgot you got your belly button pierced, friend.
I don't be having my belly out like that. It be out sometimes.
Wear your LoveLoudd crop top.
Hey, my crop top. Unless I got on my high-waisted jeans.
Right. That's how
I love my high-waisted.
All right, go ahead, girl.
Okay. Never have I ever been in a limo.
But what if it's not the traditional limo?
It's still a limo. It's still,
don't be bus and then
that's a limo. That's a limo. Put the finger down.
So I got 3 down, 3 down. All right. Never have I ever smoked.
I'm like, smoked what? You don't say. All right. Never have I ever gotten a tattoo.
I want one, but I don't have one.
I'm ready for another one, shoot.
I know you always ready for another one. Never have I ever met in a. I said met in. What kind of English? Never
That's
have
your English.
Never have I ever met a celebrity.
That's not fair. I worked at a production company. I met a bunch of celebrities. I got 5.
You friends with a celebrity?
That is true. I'm
right.
friends with a celebrity now. Might as well. Hey, celebrity friend.
Well,
okay.
We know a few, but we'll talk about that offline.
Right.
Never have I ever ridden a horse.
I've actually. Oh wait, have I? No, I've never been on a horse. I mean, a pony is not technically a horse, but it's kind of like a baby horse. But I've never actually ridden like a horse.
Aww.
And you read my line again.
Yep, that's why I took a pause.
It's yours. Never have I ever been skydiving.
Nope.
All right, I got 5 fingers left, and you got 7. All right. Never have I ever sung karaoke.
Yes.
Yes, you have.
It was so much fun. Never have I ever had a one night stand.
Now I got 4 fingers left.
I got 6 left.
Never have I ever gotten a ticket. You said last episode you got a ticket.
I'm about to say define ticket.
Ticket is a ticket. You
on the popo.
Put your finger down.
No. Okay, I got 5.
All right, 4 to 5, 4 to 5, 4 to 5.
I've always wanted to do this, but never have I ever skinny dipped.
I've never done that either. I've never done that. All right. Never have I ever been arrested.
In my dreams or in real life?
Real life. Come on now.
No, I never. I still got 5 up. Never have I ever drank small. It's about to be 5 to 3. Never have I ever been drunk.
I've been drunk several times. All right. I definitely lost.
I got 5.
She got 5 on it. And I got 3. So, but 3 is a great number. 3 is a great number. 3 is one of my favorite numbers. So 3 is a great number to end with. My 3 fingers. What side?
Even though I can't read in Monie's lines, that was fun.
Right, it was fun.
We got to take Monie skydiving. We got to take her to ride a horse.
I don't know about the horse thing. I'm a little skeptical of horses. Them things is big. That's why I ain't been on the horse yet. Them things is big. I remember being a kid and riding a little pony around a little circle. I did that as a kid. I've never been on a horse as an adult.
So the ponies are big too, because when I was in high school, I went horseback riding with my school, and come to find out I was on the pony. It wasn't like a little tiny little thing, but it was still a baby horse. And I was like, oh yeah. No, like
it's true. We gotta get you that tattoo, girl. You want one, you've been itching.
I forgot to put the ED at the end. Wanted. I think I want something pierced. I'm not gonna say what it is on the podcast. I want something pierced, but I'm no longer feeling for the tattoo anymore.
It's true. I'm itching for several, so I'm pretty sure I'll have another one before the end of the year.
Maybe we'll go record myself getting a piercing and then record you getting a tattoo.
I'm down for it. Let's do it and put it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. And that is it for our icebreaker, Monie.
And now we are heading over to Suite 223.
Lego.
Bow. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Suite 223. Today we have a very special guest for you, a fellow writer, poet, author. We have LaQuan Ford, the author of Bandages and Cologne, coming to the stage to perform for you Pride. Welcome him to the stage. LaQuan, take it away.
Thank you so much, Simone. Thank you, Yaya, for having me. All right. This poem is entitled Pride. Maya, I hear caged birds singing. They find home in song. They sing and continue to, even after they're free. We've confused their pride for arrogance, like how dare they? They sing and they dance with gliding feet, hands lifted to the same skies that never seem to open for them. They reach instead for the trees. They fight the necessary to breathe and to fly. Hands are like feathers as they paint the night. Set aside as the grim and wicked, they still make it home. Finding rhythm on the edge of swords, pride shields them from the coming storms. And at night, when darkness calls for the sun to cease its blistering blaze, the earth is half done. At rise, they come to face another age. Voices as vibrant as a lion's roar, sweeping across the vast plain floor. Rattling trees that shake and awake all that is living. They fall for belonging, for merit, for cause. Not all are martyrs, see, they win the wars. They begin humming the shy, cold breeze. Their leaves are falling from immortal trees. No matter how many times they are cast aside, they find home in each other and refuse to hide. We find home in each other and we refuse to hide. Pride.
Snap, 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 clap, clap, clap. That was very, very beautifully written, if I could say so myself. I loved it so much. I can't wait to hear hear the inspiration behind it. But before we jump, Yaya, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, snap it up, snap it down, snap it all around. When I hear stories, I envision what's going on in the story. And I always like to say what my take is before I hear what the poet says. So I'm just imagining myself as that bird flying and trying to fit in different situations. And I feel like, oh, I'm trying to hang out with this clique. No, I don't fit in. I'm trying to hang out with that clique and I don't fit in, but I have to learn who I am, find out what that home and that piece is for me. And I like the analogy of birds because I go and pick out a little stick here, a little leaf there, leaf everywhere, and make my own nest. And that's what I decide what home is for me.
I love what you got from it too, because I was thinking about bird and thinking about cage birds too when I was writing it, but that was a great interpretation of what the point of the poem.
Well, you illustrated it for me, but let us know what your poem is about.
So Pride, actually, I wrote this poem at a party. So I was dating this guy in Atlanta, and he had like this little house party before the pandemic. Just had some of his closest friends over, other gay men, and it was my first time really being in a party in a space where it was totally Black, LGBTQ individuals, particularly men, and those who identify as men, and they were all just having a good old time carrying out. And I was the one playing the music and from my phone, and I was just looking around the room, just like taking it all in, just remembering when I was a little boy and I just would never. I was trying so many different ways to how to get it out of me, and I was just looking around the room, seeing how proud they were to be themselves and just all the things that they were doing. Being free meant so many different things to a gay person and a gay Black man in general. So to see them in that room, it was so inspiring. It was, the poem just wrote itself. I was literally, they were in there dancing, and that's what I was describing when it came time to to really talk about it. And I was in awe. It was moments where I was trying to fight myself from crying because I'm like, I don't know these people, but and the next day I actually read it to those who end up staying over, and thanked them for being themselves, because I grew up, and even still, like, I never really have older gay Black men to have as people to support me, someone that joined my family. Not until when I moved to Chicago, actually, is when I came out. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was the first person I told when we first got together. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to add more stress. It was already stress having a secret from my friends and everyone. I didn't want to get with someone and be intimate with someone and still have a secret, especially something as deep as that, because I understand the impact that it has. And she's a Black girl, so I didn't want to get into a situation and not be completely honest. And while the relationship itself didn't work out, she's the one who really helped and guided me into writing a letter and sending it to my friends and telling them, and actually claiming my pride and standing firmly in my truth. She's still to this day like one of my closest friends. We just had dinner before I left to come to LA, and I was able to actually thank her and tell her, we're still soulmates. We just confused our soul tie. We were not supposed to be having sex. We were not supposed to be doing anything romantic. We were literally just to be friends and be in each other's lives at this level, because it's still the same, just without the relationship. We're still the same people. We were always friends and we'll always be friends. But when I was in that room, I was just reminded of the many times where I just never thought I would be, gay and proud about it. And so to see them in that room, in that space, it's almost like a kid who has dreams of becoming a tennis player, and she just sees tennis. She just sees Serena Williams and so many other famous tennis people in a room just talking about what they love to do. It feels that same. You're inspired just to be a part of culture. And to reclaim your Blackness, because you think you have to separate it once people tell you that you're an abomination to the culture and all this other stuff, and you get to reclaim it in that moment. And that's what was happening in that room with me. I was just starstruck, and people probably thought I looked crazy because I was just literally staring, all eyes wide open. But I don't know. That was my first time being in a space where I was lifted like that. and was able to just write. That's my first poem I ever wrote. That was the first time I ever wrote a poem at a party. So I don't even think they knew what I was doing. They probably thought I was texting, but I was writing a poem, and it was that poem.
It's dope that you were able to do that, to feel inspired with who you were around and the environment that you were in, to feel so inspired to want to write about the experience that you were living in. Like, I've been there before. Like, as a writer, sometimes when art tells you to do what you need to do in that moment, you just have to get those thoughts out and just go with the flow of it. So I'm just imagining this being in a space and seeing these people love on each other and having a great time, and having that inspiration to be like, this is not a moment that I can let pass. I have to get this down. And for you, for the story behind it and your own story in regards to who you were surrounded by, it reminds me of how I feel when I'm surrounded by people I feel like that I can relate to. Like, I have a home in the people that I'm close to, like the relationships that I'm building with people that can relate to me and they're not judging me, because I'm in a space where I feel safe and I'm protected and I'm loved, and I don't have to worry about anybody trying to, out me for something that I'm not. I'm here. I'm free to be whoever it is that I want to be right here, right now. So I love all of it. Like, I can't stop smiling. Like, I just literally love everything about it.
Yeah, same. I don't have any extra words. It's just beautiful. The whole piece, the story behind it, the finding peace within yourself and other people using your piece to find their peace. And I just thinking about when you said there's no mentor for you. It's that stuck with me, because it's like, how do I go ahead and move forward and be comfortable with who I am, and then train that child that's behind me? But you have to learn in some kind of way. You've gotten that motivation and that freedom and that comfort by the people who were inspiring you, that was around you, and they didn't even know.
Yeah.
So it was just something that was natural, that happened on purpose, but not on purpose.
As it should be. It's like learning how to cook. Most people in Black households learn how to cook just by watching their grandmothers, moms, or whoever was the cook in the house, and they didn't even know we were looking, and we didn't even know we were paying attention to stuff. And while and if we're cooking out as adults, we were like, wait, why do I do that? Like,
why do I say that like that?
Yeah.
Right.
Why don't I measure the ingredients?
Right.
Stuff? Like,
you're cooking with love. You learn to cook with love.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I like the food and like how people use food to describe and use in poetry to describe like situations. Like Jasmine Mans, she does a lot of that, and I really like it.
Yes, thank you for sharing, Pride. I'm pretty sure this piece will definitely inspire others as well to truly be who they are, and hopefully find their home in those that accept them for who they are. All right, darling. Are you ready to head over to our next segment?
Yes.
Give him the jingle.
Hot topics.
There you go.
Yes, I got it right. All right, so we are now leaving our Sweet 223 and going over to the cafeteria where we do what? Gossip, y'all. We gossip. We spill all the tea. We get to know each other better. We become friends. Our friend today is nobody other than LaQuan Ford. He is an author, a writer, a great spirit. If you follow him on Instagram, he posts the best pictures, y'all. From Newark, New Jersey. My childhood friend, I didn't even know that I grew up with. My childhood friend. So there's no other way to do it but to just jump into it. We want to know who you are. Who is LaQuan Ford?
Who am I? I am a young Black gay man from Newark, New Jersey. I am loved by my friends and family. I have enough joy in my heart to also give love to those individuals and people I come across as well. I am a writer. I am all around creative. I am fearless in the face of many and most things that used to haunt me in the past. And I am an aura. I am here.
Yes.
Yes, aura.
Yes.
You better be an aura, okay? Shining his light all up in through this room,
Yes.
okay? He is an
Aura.
aura.
Fearless. Yes. I am a friend of my friends. I love that. I love that. And you didn't stumble at all. You know who you are.
Exactly. Straight through.
Straight through.
No pauses. No commas.
All exclamation points.
I used to struggle with that question. They used to just be, but it's because we make it deep. It's not that deep.
Word.
It's true. It's just who are you? Who are you today, right now?
Exactly. Who do you believe you are?
I'm a poet, so
that's true. And speaking of poetry, what inspires you to write? How did you come about writing poetry?
So I know, and I don't know which language arts grade level it was. I came across Langston Hughes' Mother to Son poem, and I absolutely loved it because I finally saw someone, a Black person, talk about their mother in this form. Poetry kind of found me then, but then I didn't think anything of it, and I was a terrible kid, very bad. My teachers tried their hardest, and I give them their respect, but I was horrible. So because of all the trauma I was facing back at home, with my parents, and just living in poverty itself, and it was in a horrible relationship at age of 15. It was just a roller coaster of different emotions that, and I'm a teenager, so we're starting to experience our emotions at a heightened level. So everything that was going on at home, the abuse, the physical and verbal abuse, the not being comfortable who I was, being teased for it, and just going through a lot of trials. There's this woman who used to date my older cousin. I call her my aunt, and she just took me in because she knew how angry I would get. I was very explosive with my anger. Thankfully now I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for 3 years. So, and it finally makes sense when I got my diagnosis of having bipolar disorder. But when I was younger, I was so explosive. I fought any and everybody, cursed any adult out. My mother, person who adopted me, my grandmother, anybody, just because I was just angry and didn't know why. So she, on my 15th birthday, this woman, Khadija Nefertiti, she bought me this poetry book, and it had this little white boy on it, but she got it from the dollar store. It was like a little notebook and like a little, you can lock it and stuff. She's like, here, try writing, try whatever comes to your mind, just put it on paper. And the first poem I wrote it was called A Mother's Worth, about my mother. And I just fell in love with the craft itself, and the fact that I can sit in the corner quietly by myself, or sit on the porch and be with my friends sometime too, and just be in my own world, because I've always lived in my head as a kid, because that was my way of escaping some of the things that we were going through. But to have a physical realm of that safe space that I had, that's how I got into poetry, is that I started reading and started writing poetry at 15. I wrote my first poem on my 15th birthday. And that's actually all these poems, except for the last couple ones in here, all are from when I was a kid, 15.
Wow. It's amazing how so many different writers and poets have similar stories of it all started from my journal. Something that you kind of use, basically sounds like a coping mechanism, things that you were going on.
Yeah.
You said that you lived inside of your head for the longest, and you basically took what was in your head and threw it onto some pages. And now well, actually, I was about to jump a little bit too ahead, but you, with that journal with the little white boy in the front in the locket, you took all those things that you were envisioning and you lived through, and you plastered it onto some pages. Wow.
I very much appreciate the fact that writing was offered to you as a way for you to try to figure out what to do with all the different emotions that you were dealing and facing with, opposed to categorizing it as, I'm just a misfit or something's just wrong with me. You're like, you know what, let's try to figure out what we can do to help cope with this. And the fact that that you didn't turn it away, you actually tried to do something with it, and you ended up falling in love with it. I think that that's very beautiful. Because what if that wasn't offered to you? What if you were never given the opportunity to try to transform your emotions onto paper.
I don't even know how to think about
Exactly.
that.
Like, it's just amazing that you were given that outlet.
Right.
Because it's always important as a child to have these outlets that we're given, whether it's through any form of art. I feel like whether it's through music or writing or painting, like usually it's something in regards to the arts, which is why I hate that they started taking art out of things in regards for students, out of schools. But it feels like art is always a great outlet for students to really try to find themselves, like find something that they really truly love outside of sports and day-to-day things in school. It's something extra about that. I think that's truly amazing.
Something magical about putting self-expression onto a page and actually reading about who you are and how you think. Mm-hmm. And it kind of changes some of the way you were thinking, because when you read it, you're like, well, do I feel like this? Or did I feel like right. That? You get to go back to it later. And I think those are my favorite gifts. If someone buys me a journal, those are my favorite gifts. Like,
yo, I have too many journals to count. Like, I love journals. I will look at a journal in the store and be like, yo, I already got like 5 at the house. But I'm like, but this one could be used for something else. This could be my random thought. This is my poetry one. You can never have too many. A bookshelf just for journals.
I have, and I keep all my journals, all my diaries. I keep every single last one of them.
Amazing. I have one all the way from high school. It's rattered and tattered, but I hold on to it because it reminds me of who I was back then. She still inspires me.
So with your aunt giving you that book, I'm sure it was just kind of second nature for you to write in your book, which was your journal. But when did you when did you realize you were a writer?
Oh, well, everything in the book was a poem. Every single the way I wrote in that book was a poem. Even if it was, this is why I love narrative poetry, is because that's how I started out writing, and I didn't know that was a form of poetry. In my book, actually, I went back and changed all the language and everything, and I kind of regret it a little bit now, because now I'm starting to read more, and I'm reading Toni Morrison, I'm reading Maya Angelou, James Baldwin, all these people, but Toni Morrison in particular, who really claimed her Southern tongue, who really claimed her voice, her prose and the way she speaks and the way she writes. And if it was not proper English, quote unquote, then it still was made into the book and made her who she is. And that's how, if I look in my book, the emotion is completely different when you look at the actual book and where it came from, where it derived from. And I sort of edited out my New York voice, but it was a lesson learned.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, it's a beautiful book. And just thinking, maybe I'm thinking ahead, but maybe you can come out with another copy of just the with your North voice.
I would want to.
Right, yeah. the original.
Yeah, like a special copy.
Yes, I would.
So we kind of know that some of the inspiration behind your poem behind your book is through experiences that you've gone through as a child, your 15-year-old self, and some years after. But what happened that you decided, I'm gonna bind these pages together and sell it as a book?
I think it was the response I kept getting from people when I would perform in college. At that time, before I decided to put out the book, I told myself it was on my bucket list to put out a book. And when I was in Chicago, I was living in Chicago, and I still was writing, and I performed for the first time in Chicago, and it was the same thing. People kept talking, and then it's like, hey, you need to write a book. And I always knew I would write a book, but more like a memoir than a poetry book. But opportunity presented itself when I was in Jersey, and I said, you know what, I'm going to take this year and I'm going to write this book before the end of 2018. And I wanted to be finished with the book by then. And in January, after all the editing, various drafts that it had to go through, I finally was able to put out the book and look at it and like hold it in my hand. And even my title of the book, that was the title of my Tumblr. And that was where I was exploring, my sexuality and, on social media. Like I was able to be myself at some place where no one didn't know me. And so that's what the idea came from my bucket list. I wanted to write a book, but I always, again, it was memoir. But the poetry book itself was just something I was like, actually, I like the way I write, and it seems like people like it. So I'm going to put this out, and I like it. I'm going to continue doing it.
Yeah, I love that other people kind of inspire you to put it out there. And it reminded me of the night that I met you as an adult, when I met you at the poetry event. And I'm really, really shy. I stick to my own little corner. But the way that you shared your poems, the confidence that you had on that stage, the poems that you shared, I was just like, I had to go up to you and say something about it. It drew me in. For some, I don't can't even tell you what poem you shared, but it drew me in. Just your presence, your aura, your language, everything about it. I connected with it.
See, now you said that the title of your book was also your Tumblr, Bandages and Cologne, right?
That's the next thing I was going to touch
I
on.
want to know where the inspiration for the title came from. It seems like there's so much into that. You know, I know what bandages do. I know what cologne do. I know, you know, when you smell it, brings a memory. Good. Bandage covers up wounds, help you heal. Like, I'm just coming up with my own thing.
Yeah, it was like, so I knew why I was getting on Tumblr. I was like, I'm just gonna be myself. And so Bandages and Cologne came up because I was like, what do I want my title this to be? Because usually when I first get on social media, like MySpace days, my name was always Mr. West because Kanye is like my favorite creator, and him and Prince are like my favorite creators. And there's always Mr. West on this Mr. West Willie Osco combination Pharrell and I'm forgetting his name, Fiasco. What's his name?
Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe Fiasco. Yeah, I'm sorry. Damn. But I'm getting
hey, it happens.
It's
like,
okay.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna name myself after someone else. And I was thinking of the title really hard, and I was just like, what do I feel right now in this point in my life, in this opportunity right now? What do I feel? And I was like, this is a place where I can go and hide and be myself, or not be myself, or not hide. It's like so much going into it. So I was like, all right, so what should my title be? And I was like, and it just came to me. It was like Bandages and Cologne, and I was like, what does that mean to myself? And I was, and it was like bandages because, you know, I'm healing from most of the trauma that I've gone through, but sometimes you can keep a bandage on for too long, even after the scars, even after the wound has turned into a scar, and you don't want to show your scar. So you keep these same coping mechanisms, which is represented as a bandage, you keep it on and you keep using it when there's no use for those coping mechanisms anymore. There's no use for you to, you know, protect yourself from something anymore. When you meet someone, there's no reason for you to just assume that they're going to betray your trust. So it's like almost like ripping the bandage off. And cologne is, we use cologne to, you know, disguise our natural scent. And there were so many things I was using to disguise who I was, you know, whether it was as a kid, changing the way I talk, changing the way I walk, making sure my wrist never broke. It was so many things I was programming myself to do and to be conscious of when I was having conversations. And which is why I used to stutter, is because I always was trying to prepare what I was going to say. So I didn't want to come up. I didn't want anyone to hear anything that would, you know, say that I was gay or say I was sweet or that boy got a lot of sugar in his thing. So, because I heard it as a kid. And it's like, now that I have a way to control this, I'm going to control it. And it made me question how much of my true self was really me, or how much was it, you know, still me trying to hide things. And it's like, no, it's me, but it's who I've become, and I have to accept that. So, and then I have to also be comfortable with my natural scent, with who I am. So it's this book, putting this out, was me telling the world who I was. One, because the last page, you know, is my coming out letter that I sent to all my friends in 2015. I was in Chicago, and I just put the letters in the mailbox, and then I try to go back in the mailbox to get them because I'm like, like I don't know what they're gonna say, because majority of my friends are straight, and they're like my boys. Like, I'm actually like cool with them, and I just did not want to risk our friendship because of something that I thought, you know, would warrant them leaving, because I had abandonment issues. But you know, everything was perfect, their responses and everything. So the title itself, that's where it derived from, was me thinking about where I was in my life at that time, in that point, and in that year. And I was like, when I was first going to title the book, I forget the name of it, but I was going to title it something totally different. And I was like, that doesn't hit me the way that this did. And even the cover design, who Tiffany designed it, Tiff Crazy Cool on Instagram. So it's a blank frame, and eventually all my books you'll see they're gonna have something dealing with this frame, but it's a blank frame, and what that symbolizes is the blank canvas. Is like I get to do what I want in this world, no matter how hurt I am in my childhood, which is the ball and the bandage being on the ball. And I was just like, I'm just gonna go forward with this because these are my thoughts, and I may not be that confident in my thoughts, but let me just try. And this book honestly was a big try for me. That's what this book was. It was, let me see if I can do this, if I want to do this, if I can withstand people not liking it, or people liking it, or people critiquing it. And it was a good try. It was a really good try. I loved it.
It was an amazing try and well received. That's a beautiful, beautiful story. Like, go ahead, Simone. Take it away.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I love how it's combined between the title of the book as well as the artwork that's on the book, as a combining like your childhood and your adulthood and how you were feeling at that moment. Because there is that question often, I think Yaya and I have asked this as a question of the month once, like, if you could name this chapter of your life, what would you call it? So with you giving, you know, the inspiration behind the title and what it meant for you, because initially it just came to you and it was like, well, what does it really mean to me? Like, I gave it some extra thought opposed to it being, well, that's the first thing I thought of, so that's what it is. Yes. Like, you really put more thought into it, and it turned out to be absolutely beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you got the letter at the end of the book, like, that's I love that too.
No one knew. Even on my when I had the book launch, I performed the poem, and there were people in the crowd who never knew, and they found out that night. It was amazing. I mean, I was on that stage crying, and when I think about it, my Virgo brain is like, damn, I was up there really showing emotion. But no, it was perfect because it allowed me to walk into the next part of my life, because that was something I was holding on to. I was like, I told my friends I'm good, like, I'm good to go. But was I really living my truth? No. I wasn't talking about it with my friends. I wasn't talking about my sex life or my dating life with my friends. It was a way for me just to tell the world who I was, so I can set my own self free.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on, bird. Spread the wings.
Spread them.
Mm-hmm. Fly home, bird. Fly home.
Yes.
And speaking about being on a stage with this audience, whether you knew the people or you didn't know the people, they're all strangers to who you really are. So with setting this book free, how did you feel? Like, did you have any nerves with releasing your book? Did you get any criticism, any fears? How did it feel? Because this is your baby. This is your baby.
I releasing it, the only nervousness that I experienced, or anxiety I experienced with it being out in the world, was the way it was going to be received in the poetry community. Because a lot of times, I wasn't that confident with the way I wrote, with my grammar and syntax and stuff like that, because I didn't do too well in none of my English or language arts classes, and I didn't actually start writing well until grad school, and I was self-taught. So I was always wary about that. But again, I now that on my actual reader, and I see that people, either they make mistakes or that they write in their own language and tongue, and are confident in it. I was just like, oh, I can do the same shit. Like, I don't have to worry about making, I'm sorry to curse, but I don't have to worry about making
it's okay, be you, let it out.
I don't want to fit into no one else's box. I'm getting tired. I get tired of boxes. And I really am tired. And so that's why this is like my rebellion. This is my baby, but this is my rebellion. And going on stage and even in the book, just telling people who I was, the only thing I was worried about, honestly, was just my straight guy friends. I was not too concerned with none of the women that were in my life, or none of the people who were already in my life that knew who I was. I was just worried about a lot of the guys who didn't know. Like, I'm in a fraternity. I was worried about that because it's frowned upon, and it's just like their response wasn't the greatest. And I wrote a poem about that and it's on my page, but their response wasn't the greatest, but it was expected. But I had already received so much love, and my community, my support system had already widened to a point of like, I'm good with the people I got. If y'all don't like it, good, that's your loss. I'm good.
Right.
It's just because you got a truth that you're afraid to deal with, and that's not my job to sit here and analyze that for you. And I'm not going to sit here and give you the benefit of even caring about what you're going to say about my life. Do you like the words? If you want to know the poetry and go straight to the personal part of it, then that's fine with me.
Yo, that reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Like, you know who's a part of your circle who truly cares about you, and you know who to be like, if you gone, better for me. Better for me. I don't need your negativity in my.
I'm good. I got my friend brothers already. I'm good with the ones I'm close to. I don't need all of them.
Right. Circles get smaller as you get older, and it reminds me of a good dear poet, Mary J. Blige. Take me as I am, or have nothing at all, and I'm good.
It's true. It is true. Like, I spent most of my youth worried about what people were thinking about me, and I'm like,
same.
I'm not bringing that into my 30s. Like, I don't care what y'all think. Like, I'm good.
All right, what do you have to lose at this point?
It's like, yo, we don't even know how we got here. Like, why are we sitting here worried about?
Okay.
For no reason.
Okay. Just holding on to stuff for no reason at all. Just let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Yes.
I never watched
Can't take it anymore.
I never watched that movie. I've never seen it.
I never watched the whole thing, but I know the song.
I've seen it once, and I enjoyed it.
I never. And I watched Lion King as an adult, so I was just.
Oh wow!
If it's such a beautiful,
because there's some things I like. People were like, "Wait, you."
I'm like, they gonna disown you,
right? He gonna lose his black card. Yeah,
revoked.
Let me stop.
So one other thing that stood out that you said to me was you learned how to quote unquote write properly in grad school. That kind of reminded me of when I was writing as a child, but I always aspired to be like my brother because he was a dope poet, like really, really good. And I asked him, is it okay if I put a punctuation here, or how do I like line it up? And he was like, ain't no rules to this. Like, you just do what it is that you want to do. And just like, you just be free to be yourself. And I think that's one of the greatest things about poetry is everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own language. It can rhyme, it can be spoken word, whatever it is, it's your art.
Yeah.
Nobody else's. There's no definition that defines it. So my last question for you is, there's a little mentee listening to this right now who aspires to write a poetry book, but they feel like they don't know how to go about it, or they're afraid to let their truth be known because it's scary, like putting your words out there for the whole world to basically judge you. What advice would you give to them?
Well, the advice I followed was that whatever I wasn't ready and or too uncomfortable to put out there, you don't have to put everything out there. Put stuff out there that you're comfortable with. But I have always heard a lot of people who are well known for their writing. I always hear them say and talk about the stuff that they were most afraid to talk about is what made them who they are. Is what made other people buy into and believe in them because it was something that was different. A lot of times, like for example, with Madea and Tyler Perry and like how people talk about that trope and everything that he does with Madea, and it's always bothered me because Madea was my household. My grandmother would hold her brothers up like with a gun, like she smoked weed.
Oh my God!
But she was Madea, and her sister before she became the matriarch, her sister, her name was Madea. We call her Madea. And act the same. And it was like, that's the story. That's how it was in my house. So it's like, you don't want this to be told to the world, but that's something that I experience. It's something I connect to. And you never know who's going to connect to your story and connect to the things that pain you. And that lightens the pain a little bit, so, honestly, because you're building a new community within that pain. Like people are like, yo, yes. I dealt with this with my parents, or they'll mention with me that whether they were assaulted sexually or not, or it's like things that I battled with putting my mother's poem in here and her experience when she was raped when I was younger, and it was just like no, but I think she wanted people to know because no one believed her, because no one believed her when that happened, and it's like while I was nervous about it, it turned out to be one of those pieces that a lot of people really it resonated with them, and it's something I'm going to follow because it's like there's a reward there, and our brains always are looking for rewards and good feelings and good thoughts, and if that putting something that painful out there, honestly, it leaves me when I put it out there, and because I don't see my stories all the time in books or on television, it's like if you don't see it, you have to create it, you have to write it, and if you're going to be afraid to put out your stuff all the time, it's like you're not ready to put your stuff out. You have to sit with it, and you have to heal. You have to have already addressed some of those difficult things that you don't want to put out into the world. You have to be comfortable with who you are as a result of going and conquering whatever it was that you had to go through. So that's what I would tell them, is to follow that advice. Either you put it out and you just take those parts out of it, or you just put it out there and be content with who you are before you do so. Because writing is going to be critiqued. That's just the writing community. It is always going to be critiqued. But my favorite books they all have different styles. All of them. None of them sound the same. None of them write the same. Right. None of them format their poetry the same.
And that's what makes it unique and beautiful too.
Do what you please, because the way I even did the chapters was different. You know, each chapter was that was the process of how a scar heals, and the process of getting a scar. That's how my chapter reads. That's why it's the fall. Like, what is it? The first steps: the fall, the cut, the bleeding, the bruising, the healing, and then the last part deals with Cologne, the notes, the cloak, and the natural scent. It could have been cheesy to other people, but I'm like, yo, it's I like it. If you don't like your stuff, then don't put it out.
Y'all hear that? Are y'all listening? Did you hear what he said? Can you repeat that last part for the people in the back that wasn't listening?
If you don't like your stuff, do not put it out. Do not put it out there, because it's you're not going to read a book that you don't like. So or you're not going to purchase one that you don't like. So why would you put your stuff out there if you don't like it? If you're not a fan, you're not your first fan.
Right. You are your first fan. Amen. Come on, somebody. Yeah. Exactly. Amen. I love them when they're dropped.
That's a gem. So before we started recording our episode, you dropped a little gem hint kind of thingy on us, saying that you wrote a poem yesterday. So we want to give you the floor to share that poem with us, more importantly us, but our audience as well. So the floor is yours.
Okay, and it's a narrative poem, but just flow with me. It's entitled "They Said." On my way back home to LA from Atlanta, I had a good old drunken time. Lionel is a round trip at that, but a very good 13-year kind of friend. His boyfriend still ain't too cool with me. Like, he doesn't like how close we are to our history, or maybe he is warned or worried about his bias and wallowing trust of us and how we met and why. His distant nature caused him to push past me in some angry mood. Like, nigga, I will hurt you. I will knock your head clean off your two narrow shoulders. Like, you think I ain't allowed my own mother to brush past me with vengeance and purpose? What the fuck made you think that you could? But I kept my non-confrontational cool. Last night I overheard some Atlanta Planet Peaches say, that nigga look like Forrest Whitaker. I heard him laugh, and it's the boyfriend's friends. I best ignored them. But because my friends clowned the same way, I pocketed their judgment to suck on later. And then I took photos of Lionel and some fine dark boy with a pristinely perfect hairline and his dare not be fit body. The body most gay black men rave about, fight for, and over. He came over and showed me the picture of who they said I was looking like. He might have tried being funny by doing so, but I gave him his innocence, and I stood by and laughed with him. He said, don't let them call you that. Like I didn't take it as some compliment. But I was too nervous, too ready to read a room and give what it was asking of me. I was too much of all of that to say anything other than that spoken laughter disguised as confidence. Truth is, I felt betrayed. I spent most of the party imagining what every nigga in there, the fine, the fake, fat, skinny, fit, and femme, some fly, and others that just tried to be. I tried to imagine what they were thinking. Like I was their center of thinking, the main character in their fucked up play with two bad acts and a depleting audience. I gave my monologue a try. Can they see that I'm holding in my stomach to appear sexier than I already was? Do they know that I think I'm fat most days and never skinny enough, even when I was? Can they see my bipolar disorder haunting the better parts of my brain? Or maybe they see through the coated tint of bronze makeup I have on to soften the excited pigmentation hopping all over my face. Or maybe they like my new sweater vest I got off Instagram the other day. Or am I standing, too straight? Am I not enough gay? I looked around that place, ceiling to floor, to some man staring at me. Was he thinking, damn, that I was fine? Was he doing that back at me? And did he want me, but just the straight assuming parts of me only? With me falling down and vogue and break that fourth wall we call masculinity? He was looking for my eyes to make a play, but I was there alone and in a bar full of and full of free black gays in the spring South, with a glass of Bordeaux and another Prosecco, needing grapes and old to liven me up, or to lift me somewhere, anywhere but alone on that wall like some flower in the dirt and a dry dirt plastered on recycled paper and with a 1990s hue. I had yet anyone to talk back to, even the ones I friendlied with the night before, the ones whose home I was invited in at the spades table, letting down my partner as quick as I forgot to play the right spade. I was being funny, being out and approachable, gave blunts out too, but they seemed to have forgotten me, kept their eyes to themselves, and some ran with their eyes on their face, hoping I wouldn't speak to them or something. I was, for a moment, proud to see all these used to be hiding boys cutting the gay loose up in this place. Proud to see us living because our gay fathers tell us of all the ones who died, or the news tells us of tales of fathers beating the gay out of their sons, getting very close to proving that theory true. I know of the many who died alone in hospital rooms before this current pandemic, because black gay boys have always survived pandemics. So I was proud to be in that place because I remember when I used to think I'd never be me. One boy said I needed to live a little when I said I had a man at home waiting up for me and waiting for text confirmations of my being. One tried bagging me with some cheap ass Pathmark plastic that couldn't even withstand enough to hold Tyrone's availability. Not those heavy bags Erica sung about. Nah, this Dre was not 3,000 cool. This man nigga said, I just came home. That's a pickup line. And that he used to skip out in his backyard family parties in Newark and East Orange back in the day to run to the pier and sneak in to be gay. He said that he was 46 or so, and this nigga had no tricks left. I gave him my second to last pre-roll blunt I got back in Chicago on my drive to LA. Because I'm too old and it's too nasty to shit blunts. Puff, puff, and pass and got too young and too quick, and plus it's a pandemic. And I'm too young, I'm too much of a bougie gay uncle. Not like the anything frail or scared or hiding, not that uncle, you know, the one with the beamer and the not talked about or hush hush roommate, quote unquote. And if they just sent you home, where was all your stuff? I ain't want none of it. I'm committed to my back at home over cover lover. I was bored enough for dialogue that I entertained this tired fool with too much audacity to even notice my disinterest. I was giving him that old middle-aged and passing by white man grin with a nana lip to hold a kiss. I kept away as I gave my second to last blunt to this man. Was I mean for no reason? I hope that the blunt lasted. Was them calling me Forrest Whitaker payback for how I simply was not folly enough to give in? But I'm too engineering, too chilly focused on reprogramming my amygdala, and I ain't got time for worrying about what people think of me. Hell, I spent the better young years employed to that, and I'm out of the office for good. While I may not be Atlanta bolding body fit gay or femme enough to fit, if I'm Forrest Whitaker, oh, I'm gonna make that nigga look good, because I do. The niggas pulled off an accent, my first car, and had the nerve to throw tents on it like they were hiding some luxury needed not to be seen. I judged them right back and real quick, wrote out a mean tweet, and then deleted it just after I sent it. So I then smiled at them, hugged by my friends Lionel and Darren ain't like that they were talking about me. I ain't either. I'm thankful for them, but I'm too tired. Ain't got no fight in me worth any of them flimsy niggas' comments. I look fuck good and too good in my new sweater vest. My hairline may precede me, even receding, but I'm out and in Atlanta being gay and proud. So them skinny, flimsy niggas gonna have to wait for me to ever give a damn what they miserable asses had to say. I won't call them flimsy niggas any more names in my head, because they're not that free. They're taking back all the times boys like us had to cower in order to feel safe. So I let them live out their high school dreams of being mean boys, sat and laughed with Lionel and told him that I loved his crazy ass while chopping up a goodbye with Darren, both unaware of the drama playing out in my head. Ran into an old fling, too, with our amicable and departing and too tight of a hug. I'm a gay freak, and damn it, if I look like Forrest, I'm gonna dress that resemblance up in the finest and newest threads, and I'm gonna smile, elementary picture day smile, and I'm gonna dream of him one day possibly reading something I said. I'm gonna call him beautiful and tell him that his eye ain't lazy, that it's a full-time job to have someone become someone such a name enough for other people to remember and that say that someone else looks like. I can't tell you any of their names, and history will only remember them for being gay. And it ain't an insult, but a compliment to have been said to look like you, sir. They got two soft gums and falling teeth, unpaid rent in an Atlanta apartment big enough for them to run away to and lock themselves back in because they can only be gay down there. I'm gay wherever I go, and if we use an insults now, I have one that'll stick, but I left that one back at the home I never had to leave. too many other boys are running from homes and they aren't mean enough for what I had to say or for what I would have said. So I took the high road and pulled and puffed and pulled and puffed. How you gay and dull, nigga? Who took away y'all's color? Y'all let them white boys keep your color? And if we going to shade, let's not forget our own shadows, niggas. Let's not forget our own fat femme and femme. Let's not force us into rooms that we don't like being in. What I ever do to any of you flimsy niggas to warrant your credulous cruelty? I'm fat, femme, fit, and fine and fly, mainly when it's politically correct or when I want to be more of me or when I feel my gayness being corrected. And I'm fly, niggas, more than those united bodies soon to hover in the blue Colorado sky. So I'm a wink like I'm Forrest, and I'm a smile and breathe because I'm free to be. Like, and not a nigga in here could outdress me. That's the attitude I want my ambiguous and big amygdala to remember and to treat me with. And I see that some of you sneaking to check your accounts to see if you saved enough for that tab that you open to impress that nigga that has a girlfriend back at home. Or to see some of you texting your sugar daddies asking for more sugar to fill your tank. I see you, but I ain't gonna point you out. Not like y'all did me. I ain't trying to hurt any of you. I am many of you. So stop bringing misery to our parties. I've had enough of that non-dancing fool. And like Cole said, get off my dick and let me rap these Megan lyrics flawlessly and feel like a hot girl in my manly body.
A mouthful, hunting.
Oh my God. Wow.
So yeah, that was my experience recently. I had to remind myself of, like, it was like my way to soften what they were saying. You know, sometimes someone says something about you, or someone tells you that someone says something about you, and you try your hardest to use your confidence to, like, you know, rebuild what it was that you were thinking before that you were told that. And this was my way of doing that. And it really helped because that night I did go to sleep with that heavy on my heart. But the next day when I needed to get on my flight home, this is what came to me. Always remind yourself, always check in with yourself. But if something that someone tried to hurt you with, some words someone tried to hurt you with, rewrite those words. You have the opportunity to do so. Thank you for allowing me this time to share that with you.
Thank you for blessing our ears and our podcast with that, because one, it's relatable with, you know, just what you said, hearing other people snicker about you or being told gossip about you that's in a negative light. It can be hurtful. But you flipped it and turned it into a positive and said, I'm gonna make this person proud and they're snickering about me. Like one of those things, if my name is in your mouth, you speaking blessings for me. Just share. One thing I love about poetry and poets who write, the word play. I ain't got no words. It was amazing. It was amazing, and I'm honored to be one of the first ones to hear that. It was.
I think I read this to my friend right before we got on this call, just to check in with her. Because as soon as I was like, I check in, like, am I doing too much? Or would this be too much? But
No.
This is my first time, and it's my first time actually reading a lot of.
And now the world is going to hear it. I love how you just said rewrite the words that someone tried to hurt you with. I love that so much. I'm like, you can try to tear me down in any way possible. What we used to say as kids, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Like as a child, you don't truly understand what that means, but as you grow and continue to like understand what life truly means and what your purpose is, can't nobody bring you down from doing anything or whatever you want to do, from being who you want to be. Like nothing can stop you from that. So you can talk about me all that you want to, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to do me, and you're still going to be over there talking about me with my name in your mouth.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for talking about me. Thank you so much for keeping my name alive. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, if you're trying to hurt me, I'm not. You're not going to see that.
But it truly, truly powerful, and a lot to say in regards to how you're a part of a community where you would think, aren't we all good? We all face the same situations. Right. Like, how in the world is it possible for you to try to shame me or talk about me or try to out me when we the same? At least I thought we were. Whether it's in regards to being, whether it's trying to be a black woman, a black man, a black gay man, it doesn't, no matter what community it is, you would think being a part of any community, because we are one and the same in this community, we should be treating each other with respect. But it never turns out that way. That's where you got to find your people, find your home. Back to what we said in the beginning.
That's what I was thinking about.
So, as always, we can't let you go without letting our audience know where they could find you as well as your book so that they can purchase.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Q_Sadiq. That's Q_SADEEK on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, but Twitter is not writing. But I'm also on. I have a website, LaQuanFord.com. That's LaQuanFord.com. You can purchase my book through there. I have it sent out to you, or you can purchase it on Amazon by just simply searching my name, or you can search this title of my book, which is Bandages in Cologne. Yeah, so support, follow, I follow back, I talk back, I I interact. Yeah, and thank you again for having me on here, and God bless whoever's going to listen to this later. And hope the words resonate and hope they inspire you in some way.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you
Yeah.
for blessing my ears. Okay.
This was great. I'm so elated. I'm glad that you were able to come on with us. I know you've been busy moving, leaving us over here on the East Coast, but just, learning more about your story, learning more about behind the words in the book, who you are. It was just a pleasure and an honor to have you today.
Here. Thank you. And I love what y'all doing. And keeping something that you have from college. Like a lot of people don't do that.
Right?
Thank you.
It's a forever thing. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? In today's dorm story segment, Yaya and I are sharing our experiences about the first time we performed our work. We know y'all want to know what the experience was like, so we are here to give it to you. Yaya, can you give the people your story first?
So the very first time that I performed, I think it was either 2014 or 15. I had never recited my poetry before. I was always the person who, if I wrote a poem and I thought it was like a good poem to share, I'd pass you my book. I never even wanted to read it to anybody. I still feel uncomfortable with reading my poems out loud. Even, to be honest, when it comes time to listen to Suite 223, I sometimes, if it's me reciting, I skip past it because it's so awkward for me to hear myself back. But that year, whatever year it was, 13, 14, or 15, I wrote a poem called Love Asylum. And that was one of the poems that it really hit me, because it was like, yo, like the way that I wrote out this experience, I know who I was talking about. I know what I was talking about. I know how I felt. I know how scorned I felt, like all of that. And sometime later, after writing that poem, one of my friends at the time was kind of going through a similar situation. So I passed her the book and I was like, read this. And she related to it. And I was like, yo, here's another example of me keeping my poems to myself, and this poem can help somebody. So around that same time, my brother's lodge was hosting a poetry event. And I was like, I want to go. I definitely want to go, but I don't know if I want to be psyched. So at least I'll go and I'll see how it is to be at an open mic. And while I was there, I kept feeling the urge to go up, but I didn't do it. So then my brother had came to me, he was like, you gonna recite? And the yes just came out my mouth, and I was like, oh man, I'm sweating. My stomach was so upset. I was so nervous. I had to go to the bathroom, and I had to go to the bathroom. Like, my stomach was so upset. I was so nervous. Go. And I'm like, it's a room full of adults, and they're drinking, and people that's going on the mic are doing an amazing job. I had never shared my poetry out loud before. I was so scared, but I finally got up there. I was standing up there. My friend had shown me a video. I was standing up there rocking back and forth and moving my little high heel back and forth and kicking. But I shared the poem. I started a little bit. I remember I was sweating. I felt like, you ever be on stage and I just feel like it's kind of like cloudy out there. Like, I can see specks of people, but you can't really see them because it's like they kind of zone out a little bit. No, it was like a dim room, kind of like dark but not too dark. You can still see people, but it's kind of like in my mind I can see them a little bit, but I can't really see them. And then it's like I can hear them, but then you can't really hear them because there's a difference between when you're on stage stepping, like we used to be on a step team, when you're on stage stepping and then you got the audience like cheering and shouting the whole time. But when you're sharing a poem or reading or something, the room is quiet. And it's an adjustment because to me, I'm used to, like, remember my mom said she'd be in the audience making all that crazy noise. So I'm like, to me, that's good. I need to hear that. But then in the crowd for poetry or open mic, the silence is good because that means people are really listening. So that was an adjustment too, because it's like, bro, I'm reading you something intimate. I know y'all snapping and clapping at the end, but did you really enjoy it? Because where's the yeah during the thing? So it was an adjustment. It was nerve-wracking, but then at the end, it felt good to share it because people were coming up to me and telling me how they felt about it. Man, it honestly opened me up to want to do more, to recite more. But even with that, I recited maybe 3 times afterwards because, I still get shy. And it was a new experience because it's always a new crowd. It's always a new bubble gut. It's always a new toilet that I gotta go to before sharing. But I'm glad that I did it because it kind of, like, obviously it was a spark to make me feel or help me to feel comfortable. That was my first time. What about you?
Building that confidence. Okay, so I've been performing for a while. Like the earliest time I remember me being on stage, I think I was maybe 5 or 6 at church for, like, I forget what it was. When you do the holidays and stuff, and they be having like the children's choir do stuff. So I've been performing since I was young, whether it was dancing, theater. But as far back as I can remember performing like my own work, some poetry, is the freshman talent show at Clark Atlanta University. And I can't even remember the name of the piece, but it was about like being hurt and being pain, feeling like being stabbed with 1,000 knives or something like that. And not even the pain of like Tylenol or Benadryl could help like the pain that you're feeling. It was a deep poem. It was real deep. I did not win, but that experience, it felt a little overwhelming to me because I was so used to being in front of like my peers that I knew, like being in high school or being at church. This was the first experience where I didn't really know anybody. I didn't know who was in the crowd. I didn't even know there were judges down at the bottom. I didn't know who they were. Like I literally didn't know anybody. And I was also really nervous about that piece because when we did our what is it called? You can probably help me remember, Yaya. We had like freshmen.
It was like a competition. We had a competition between all the little groups that we had during the summer orientation for the freshmen.
Yes. And for our group, I bombed my rap, like completely bombed it. I had a solo rap. I got up there. I said 2 lines of the rap because we did TLC Waterfalls. Went up there. I was about to say my rap. I seen a rainbow yesterday and I drew a blank. So when it came a couple of days later to do the freshman talent show, I was like, I cannot mess this up like I did with that other performance that I completely failed, which is probably why we lost because our joint was popping. But I messed it up. For myself, I know I killed it, because it's always a good feeling when you complete a performance on stage, like how you said, when people come up to you and let you know like how your words affected them, how it reminded them of something, or you were able to say something that they didn't know how to put into words. Like they've been through the same thing, but they didn't know how to express it. So your art was able to bring to light what they've always wanted to say or what they've always felt. So always hearing something similar to that after I do a performance, I'm like, whether I affected one person or 100, I just enjoy the fact that my art was able to reach someone from my heart to their ears. It was felt and received. So I did not win the talent show. I think somebody singing won. usually somebody that got the vocals be winning the shows, but I won in my heart. Okay, I won for myself because I did not bomb like I did with that first performance. I will never forget that. I still to this day, I cannot believe I messed up that rap. We practiced so many times to this day. Practiced so many times. But I think it had to do with like new environment, new people, just trying to get used to like where I am, trying to identify with my new college self. 18 years old, just trying to navigate in my new world. So me being able to do that, I was proud of myself.
I would say that the crowd that CAU brings in the student center is huge. So anybody that could perform in front of that crowd, kudos to them. I remember I used to want to do pageants, but what made me scared is the crowd. It's so, and in the AUC,
you didn't want to get keyed.
I didn't want to get keyed. I did not want anybody shaking their keys at me. So if you are not from the AUC area, instead of people booing you off the stage, they pull out their keys and shake them, and that's them booing you. So I didn't want to get keyed.
I did perform at a pageant before. Didn't you see me perform?
Probably.
It was the first Man of the Year pageant, and I performed on the intro with the guys. It was a few girls. We all performed. I did do that. It wasn't in a pageant, but I performed in a pageant.
No, I never performed anything at CAU except the step show. And that time when it was the Ludacris weekend or something like that.
And you got on stage. That was
anything with dancing, I would do it. Like they were like, oh, we need people from the East Coast. So it was me from Jersey and Song from Philly. And that's the first time I met Song, and we were dancing on stage. And I took my shoes off and burnt my feet because the stage was too high, and I couldn't even go to the football game.
That was freshman year. That was before his classes even started.
And then
right.
And then another time we were in the student center, and they were having the East Coast versus West Coast versus North versus South, and I got on stage, and I remember it was me and Rachie Baby, the last two, on the stage. And she's represent the South, which is Atlanta, and I represent the North for Jersey. And she beat me. I feel like she beat me because she started doing the HA2 dances on the stage. But I would say, like, the same thing that you said as far as performing as a child, I did those things as well in church. I was in a little choir, the children's church choir, the youth choir, the praise dance teams by myself. But it's always like prior to getting on stage, no matter what it is, when it is, I feel butterflies, bubble gut, all of that. But a lot of times when I get on the stage, sometimes when I get off after performing, I'm like, who was that? That wasn't me. It's like I become a different person when I'm on the stage. Sometimes I black out. Like I remember one time, this is aside from poetry, but it's still performing, right? We had a praise dance, and it was so good. Like it went from the babies, not babies, but like the really young kids dancing to the middle-aged kids, well, like the middle young people dancing to the teenage, and it went from mime to dance to everything, and like acting and everything. And the church was just so in awe that we were coming in from different parts of the church. So by the time, like, we were in the back watching because we could see the camera, and I'm like, it's almost my time to come out and do the mime with Ronald. But the ministers are blocking my entrance. I can't get through. They got to move the table. Like, what are they doing? I'm in the back panicking because I'm like, I can't get through. But we couldn't do anything about it because you can't stop the audio. You just got to keep going. Something came over me and I flew. Like, I jumped over the table, over the little pulpit area, and made it to my position and started miming with Ronald. That's why, like,
what?
Yeah, like something.
Who is
it's
that?
It's not me. It's not Yaya, not Shakita, not Unique. It's somebody else. It's the performer in me. I gotta name her because she just. I think that's what I was talking about earlier. When I'm on stage and I can't see the audience, I'm just up there performing, and then afterwards I can see it. It's just something that, like, I just clear everything out and I just do it, and then I can see. Even
it's the Sasha Fierce.
I can see some people, but I can't see the whole crowd.
You're not even supposed to pay attention to the crowd anyway when you perform. You're supposed to be focusing on what you practice. Focus on the movement, the story that you are telling, whether it's through poetry, body movement, whatever it is. Focus on the performance. Let the audience take it in.
One thing that I would say that I really appreciated is, so last year was my year that I said we set our goal. And we were like, we're gonna go to X amount of open mics to introduce LoveLoudd to people. And this was the first and last open mic that I was really able to go to before COVID ever hit. And during this event, one of the headliners, or one of the people that was on the flyer, when she got up there, she was like, I don't have this memorized, and this is my first time ever reading, but I'm gonna do this, and I'm kind of nervous, so y'all help me out. Like, I'm nervous up here. I feel myself shaking. You might not see it, but I'm shaking. I'm like, yo, that helped me to feel more comfortable, because even the people who you look at and maybe idolize or think they're so great, they get nervous too. So I was like, okay, I appreciated her for saying that, because those bubbles in my gut be real.
I feel like there's always a certain amount of jitters or nervousness before a performance, whether it's your stomach, whether it's you sweating, whether it's you like feeling a tingly feeling over your body, whether you have the urge to cry, whatever it is, it's going to be, I think every performer has something that comes over them before they actually get on stage, and also a ritual that they do before they go on stage to calm themselves, whether it's listening to music or meditating, or whether it's them just going over those lines again. Everybody has their routine and them nerves that come over them before their performance. So shout out to everybody that actually gets on stage and do what needs to be done. And if you have been thinking about it and you haven't done it yet, what you waiting for? Live your life.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's head over to community news.
Okay.
You like that, right?
I don't like that.
Don't play my jingles. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. It's time for announcements. I was feeling that one today. I had a little bounce, a little swag to it.
Hey.
A little bounce, a little swag to it. Hey. Announcements, a little swag to it. Hey, little bounce, little swag to it.
Because you on the East Coast, girl.
Hey, I got that energy. I could just. Hey. Oh, can't nobody see me.
I like that.
Can't nobody see me hitting that Millie.
I still don't know how to Millie rock for nothing. But as for our announcements, first up, July question of the month. What is something you do to give back to others? Let us know. And I think this is so great, because when you drop that comment, you may spark an idea for other people. Maybe people are wondering how they too can give back or volunteer or do something kind to others. And what you do may motivate others to do the same. So be kind and drop a comment and let us know how you give back to others and inspire somebody.
Right. Don't forget, y'all, you can answer on the Instagram page. You can answer on our YouTube channel. Under the video that we post, when we do post our answers for the question of the month. Then you can also answer on the website as a member. So join as a member, you get entered twice for the prize that we're giving away this month, which is a 10% discount code for the LoveLoudd shop. You heard? Yes. So please answer, because I'm really, really excited to know how people give back to others. I'm sure I'll see something that I never thought was a way to give back to somebody else. Alrighty, y'all. We have something else that we need y'all to answer. It's mail time for our finale episode. We want to know, what are some ways your best friend has influenced you in a positive way? You can send us a message via DM on the gram. If you know us personally, send us a text message. You can send us an email at loveloud08@gmail.com. Again, that is LOVELOUDD08@gmail.com. And let us know some ways that your best friend has influenced you in a positive way, so we can read your answers on the season 2 finale of Truth Carpet, all about friendship. I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to see what y'all answers are going to be. You can also answer on our Instagram page, because we will be posting that on our page as well. So wherever you see it, whenever you think of an answer, hit us up, send it our way. Y'all have plenty of time before we get to the finale to give us your answers.
Yes. Next up, we have a special announcement that we are going to be having a new product available on our merch portion of our website, a note to self journal. This journal is a self-love journal and activity book to be released on our anniversary, August 8th, aka LoveLoudd Day. Oh my god.
Hey! Brah, 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 brah.
I have had the pleasure to see the pages. I haven't felt the pages yet. Monie felt the pages, but I've seen the pages. The artwork is beautiful. The prompts are amazing. The meditation and all the little things, the details inside of the book are great. And I'm excited for it to drop, for people to get it in their hands. I know I am one half of LoveLoudd LLC, but when it comes time to purchase, I purchase regularly, and I'm excited to order this book for myself so that I could go to the park, become one with nature, and use this LoveLoudd journal and activity book myself. So make sure you keep your eyes open, your wallet's ready to save some coins so that you can support and buy this book. Not just support us, but support your own self, your mental health, your well-being, your self-love, and whatever that means for you in journaling and coloring and all that good stuff. So the special date is 8/8. Oh,
yes, 8/8.
Special date.
Yes, and keep in mind, y'all, this note to self activity book and journal is most definitely a labor of love. For those of you that have subscribed to the website, you know that you get a 14-day prompt of self-love prompts to help you through, different situations, to get your creativity flowing, to help with your mental health, which started when the pandemic first hit off. And now we have transformed that portion that you were able to download for subscribing to our website as a thank you. And now we have a longer physical book version that I'm super excited that y'all are going to be able to have in your hands. It'll be perfect for birthday gift, just because, Christmas gift, labor of love, y'all. I cannot wait for y'all to have
gift
this.
To yourself.
Yes. I'm just so excited. I literally don't have any words. I'm really excited for everybody to have this book in their hands.
And Monie said it's an extension. I would use that word, extension. It's not the same exact thing. So if you went to our website, or if you haven't and you're hearing this now and you go to our website and download that free version of your note to self journal, it's not the same exact prompts, or it doesn't even look the same as the free version. So, just make it do what it's doing. Order your book, August 8th is coming.
All right, and last but certainly not least, our last announcements. As always, we ask you so kindly to please send us reviews, whether it's about our Instagram page, whether it's about our podcast episodes, whether it's about our YouTube channel, whether it's about our merch, whatever you like about LoveLoudd, whether you just like seeing our pretty faces, if you like our haircuts, if you like that we look like twins, just saying. All you have to do is send us a review, and we will most definitely post them on the website as well as our IG page, because we appreciate all the love that is given to us, and we send the love right back. LoveLoudd is all about loving out loud. So send us a shout out and we'll shout you out right back, because that's what we do around here. We love out loud, okay? You love loud or not at all. So please send us the reviews. We very much appreciate them every time we get them. However you send them, email, DM, walking up to us and telling us what you think. It doesn't matter. A review is a review.
Yes, and speaking of podcasts, which you are listening to now, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Every time we log off from these podcasts, I'll be like, dang, I know we invited so-and-so to come on this podcast with us, but I didn't know he or she or they was gonna do it like that. I feel like it's a gift, and it's definitely an honor. I'm grateful to have such enthusiastic, inspiring go-getters join us on our podcast. And I want to thank LaQuan for the gems that he dropped. I remember when he when I asked him who was he just came with it, and I was like, yo, you just came with it. It always takes a little minute to think of how to answer the question. And just like when you were writing, you just make it do what it do. Like, just think about who you are in that moment. And that stuck out to me. That's one thing that stuck out to me that he shared with us. And it was, I probably said this already, but it was an honor and a pleasure to have him join us for this podcast. And I'm so happy that it's going to be going through the waves, you know, the audio waves from our podcast to your ears, to your heart, to your mind, so that it touches you in a way, either that it touched me or in a different way. I just know that it's going to touch different people.
Right. Somebody, anybody. And if you love it, go ahead and share it to somebody else that you feel may love it too. That's how we keep growing and glowing.
Yes, and you can go to LaQuan's website and LaQuan's Instagram and follow him, support him. Make sure you buy his book. Make sure you show him some love on his social media pages, his social media outlets. And, you know, I just hope that you guys and everybody enjoyed this podcast. And I can't wait to be back in your ears in 2 more weeks with something.
Yes.
Special.
2 more weeks. Man, season 2 is slowly but surely coming to a close.
Creeping
Right, it's creeping up.
down.
It's creeping up, y'all. Wow, it's creeping up. We in July. We started season 2 back in February. That's crazy.
Time flies.
Time literally flies. But it's been fun, and it's gonna continue to be fun because can't stop, won't stop. You feel me?
Right. Well, like they say in church, if there's nothing else that you have to say, sweetie, I'm ready to close.
You already know what it is. This is coming to an end. We got to go. See y'all in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Stay black.
Stay proud.